No beeping yet. Nothing.
Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you about how to prevent a cutoff, the infamous cutoff on an electric unicycle. This video will be both for beginners and more advanced riders. So whether you're riding on a 10-inch, 14-inch unicycle, InMotion, Hsiang, or one of the faster ones like this Galway Nikola 84 volt or this Galway MSS from EUCService that has a top speed of over 70 kilometers an hour or 45 miles an hour. This video will tell you how to prevent a cutoff on an electric unicycle. So let me tell you more about it. Wrong way. To understand what a cutoff is and why it's even present on electric unicycles, first I wanted to explain you how a personal electric vehicle works. To skip this part and get right into the tips and preventative measures, just go to this timestamp. So in every small electric vehicle, albeit a scooter, a e-bike, or a electric unicycle, or a electric skateboard, there are three major components. And I wanted to narrow it down to just these three elements to clarify it and make it more simple for you guys. So the first component is the battery pack, the second component is the controller, and the third component is the motor. The battery pack is the energy, and so be it, the potential energy that you can use to accelerate, to maintain speed and have a certain range on your electric vehicle. The controller transforms this energy that is available in the battery pack into power that propels the motor. And all of these three parts are interconnected and they have to match each other's performance in order to prevent fast battery damage, cutoffs, overheating, and so on. So now that we know these three main components, I want to tell you what limits their performance. And there are actually several things that can limit your acceleration and top speed and range. And all of these things decrease the efficiency of these three elements combined. One of them is naturally aerodynamic, so the faster you go, the more force you will need to maintain the speed. The second thing, for example, is temperature. So all of the devices have an optimal temperature where you can use them, but for example, if it's very cold, the batteries aren't as efficient as when it's warm. And the same thing applies when you really push the device. If it's super warm, the batteries or the motor might overheat and limit your performance. Next thing is weight. So the heavier of a rider you are, the more power and energy you will need to achieve the same results as a lighter person. Next thing is roll resistance. So the heavier the tire, the heavier the thread, the bigger the wheel, and the smaller the pressure you have in your electric device, the more roll resistance you will have. And the next thing is gravity. So obviously when you're going uphill, you will need more power, more energy to overcome this distance than just going on a flat surface. But the part that actually limits the power output the most is the battery pack and the controller. When talking about the battery pack, is the size of it and the state of charge. So you can't really do much about the size unless you upgrade to a different vehicle. All in all, the bigger the size of the battery, the more efficient it becomes. But if you have a high state of charge, then you'll have way more energy available than when you would have a low state of charge. So power decreases as your battery levels drop, until you reach a point where the batteries have such a low state of charge that the device will either turn off, cut off, or just go into a halt. The other part, the controller, will just limit either your top speed, your climbing abilities, so the same thing, it will just stop. The motors also have different windings, different number of magnets and different efficiencies, but I don't want to go too deep into this. So if you put all of these components In an electric scooter, in an e-bike, or in an electric skateboard, you still just have a throttle, and the balance going forward and backwards is maintained by the two wheels and the balance of your body. So even if you reach the top speed, you just reach it and there's nothing more to it. Or if you go uphill, the thing just goes slower and slower and might turn off or stop going forwards. What you do then is just step off the device. Simple, isn't it? Yeah, but the story is not as simple when you have an electric unicycle. Let me explain. So if you would apply the same rules of e-bikes, electric scooters and so on to electric unicycle, this would result in the following situations. If you would reach the absolute top speed on an electric unicycle and you would lean forwards, the device itself couldn't keep up with you and you would fall flat on your face. If you would accelerate too hard, or if you would climb a hill that is too steep, the device just would not be able to move forward with the speed that you told the device to do, and you would fall flat on your face. And maybe you heard of cases of Dualtron scooters burning their controllers, especially the Dualtron X, when drivers were braking at a full state of battery charge. Yeah, electric unicycles only brake with their electronic brake, so with their engine. So, if you would just brake really hard with a full battery, it would overcharge the battery and, yes, you would fall flat on your face. Another situation. If you would have a low state of battery and you would still keep on going with the same speed, the batteries might go below a safe state of charge and they could be either damaged or the battery management system would suddenly cut off the power supply to the electric unicycle and yes, you would fall flat on your face. Another example is if you would fall from your electric unicycle and it would just spin out of control, it would just keep spinning, which is obviously not a good situation. Okay, so you know all about the problems here with the electric unicycle, but what do actually companies and manufacturers do in order to prevent that? Number one is programming a BMS in this way that you never really reach the full state of charge on the electric unicycle and a too low state of charge, preventing dangerously high or low states of battery. The second thing, and maybe the more important thing here, is the tilt back. So when you have a tilt back on in an electric unicycle, you never really reach the absolute top speed of this device. Let me explain. When you lean forwards on an electric unicycle, the gyroscope tells the controller of this device to move quicker forward or to accelerate in order for you to keep the balance on this device. So if the weight is in front of the electric unicycle, then the electric unicycle accelerates, and if the weight is in the back, you brake. Pretty simple, that's all we do. So when you reach a certain top speed that is applied by the manufacturer, then the wheel itself will actually accelerate faster than you intend to in order to put your body in the back of the electric unicycle and slow you down. So this is basically what the tilt back does. It limits the top speed of a EUC. And maybe connected to the tilt back there are also warnings like please decelerate or please slow down or just whatever beeping Gotway has at the moment that indicates that you are pushing the wheel too hard and you have to slow down a bit. And the next thing they do is just choose the right components for each wheel. For example, a bigger battery or even different cells will allow you to keep the flow of power from the battery pack to the controller to the motor itself at a higher rate to keep you safer. Or it will just select the right size of the wheel, 18 inches, 16 inches, 14 inches, in order to prevent cutoffs or overpowering of the wheel. It will also tell you about the maximum weight limit on this electric unicycle, the max hill climb, and the top speed. So all of the components that electric unicycle manufacturers choose are really important because at the end they keep us safe. But as good as all these things might be, it's all still electronics and it's still prone to fail if you just don't behave correctly on your electric unicycle. So let's get into the meat and bones of this video, the 11 tips or preventative measures on how to prevent the cutoff. And also big thanks to Daniel Koth from EUCService. He also added 2 points to this list. So, number 1, and this is really important, don't accelerate hard and don't ride at a ridiculously high top speed when you have a low state of battery. Especially below 50 or 40%, you have just less energy available in the battery of your electric unicycle, and if you push the device too hard, it just might not have enough power to do the tilt back, to roll in front of you, and then it will just cut you off. And you have to know that this happens on all unicycles. So if you have like 10% battery on an InMotion V10F and you accelerate really hard, lean really hard forwards, it will just turn off. That's just how it is because it doesn't have enough energy. And if you do top speed runs on your electric unicycles that have the tilt back off, like for example on the Nikola or on the M Super Sport, just do it with 100% battery. If you ride with a battery state below like 80 or 70%, you have a lot less potential energy available in the battery pack, and while the top speed with 100% charge might be 60, 65, 70 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, with 80% it might be just 38. And what happens then? The wheel won't have enough power to keep the speed or to accelerate to the speed or whatever. So really important, don't push the wheel hard if you have lower battery states. And again, applies to all brands, all manufacturers, all types of electric unicycles. Number 2 is leave the tilt back on or respect the beep. If you leave the tilt back on, it will limit the top speed, and if you just don't feel that you're going so fast that day, the unicycle will remind you, activating the tilt back and limiting your top speed. The good thing is that in most unicycles, Gotway, Hsiang, InMotion, the tilt back is progressive. So the lower your battery state, the lower your top speed. So this is also a way how manufacturers help to prevent cutoffs. And remember to respect the beep, maybe download EUC World and have warnings on your headphones, or let your phone vibrate. Just make the beep, especially the 5 times beep on Gotway wheels, really noticeable so you know when you are reaching your limit. Number 3 is be aware of your device's limitations and pull back if you reach them. So you have to know that if you have a, for example, Gotway Tesla, it won't go 65 kilometers an hour. That's just how it is. If you have a Hsiang 14D, just don't try to push it to 40 kilometers an hour. There are limits that manufacturers impose on all of the electric unicycles, and these things just keep you safe basically. In terms of hill climbing, it's pretty much not as dangerous, because the worst thing that will happen is that you will come to a stop and you're going like 5 kilometers an hour. You have to watch out that your wheel doesn't fall down, but there's like not much more to it. But in terms of top speed, you really have to watch out, because if you push too hard and you fall at a high speed, this won't be really nice. So before you reach the limits of especially top speed on your electric unicycle, just read about it, check what other riders were experiencing with this machine. Number 4, lower your performance when going uphill or when riding with headwind. I was talking about aerodynamics and going uphill before. Both of these things limit the top speed and performance acceleration of your electric unicycle. So if you see a big hill ahead and you think you can go as fast as on flat ground, think twice and be aware what the machine tells you, because it will try to either tilt you back or you will hear a lot of beeping when you try riding uphill with the same speeds as on flat surface. So be aware of that and be aware that the performance is decreased when you have headwind or when going uphill. Number 5, and this is a tip especially for Godway riders that have their tilt back off. So if you want to reach the top speed of your electric unicycle, number 1, remember full charge, it's really important. Gear up as well, this will be also mentioned in another point. And reach the top speed slowly. Just don't have high acceleration boosts above 40 kilometers an hour, 50 kilometers an hour. Just do it slowly, because the faster you go, the more power you need to accelerate. So if you do want to reach the top speed of your electric unicycle, do it really slowly. I mean, reach the top speed slowly, be aware of the beep, and if you do reach it and you do think that is enough, mostly and this is mostly when the 5 times beep starts. You can maybe go 3 to 5 kilometers an hour above it, but to keep her safely, it's better not to do that. And when you reach this top speed, just pull back quickly in order to relieve the strain of your battery. Number 6, and this is a weird tip, just get a faster EUC. So if you feel like you are riding all the time on the limit on your electric unicycle, consider upgrading. Consider getting a bigger battery unicycle, or one with a bigger motor, with a bigger top speed, where you have more headroom to play with. Number 7. This is a tip more for heavier riders. So the heavier you are, the less performance is available for you. So if you see a 50 kilogram guy, or whatever it is in pounds, you won't go as fast if you are like twice the weight as this light guy. And this is just physics, because a lighter rider has just less strain on the motor, on the battery, on the whole device. Get to know with your electric unicycle, know the limits of it, and don't try to push it if you see another guy going faster, because he just might be lighter. Number 8. Be aware of your surroundings and know where you are going. If you want to ride fast again, it's better to know the street where you are doing it at, because there might be a pothole, the unicycle might fly up in the pothole, reach the cutoff speed in this time and cut you off, and you will fall down. So you'll feel the safest going on a flat surface, on tarmac, and probably the best on the street. Also keep in mind that when going on a street or just a wider pavement, you will feel the speed less. So a thin bike lane will feel a lot quicker at the same speed than a wide street. So when you're going on bike lanes all the time and suddenly you find yourself on a street amongst cars, you might be going a lot faster. Be aware of your device's limitations then. Number 9. Hard braking might cut you off as well. So especially in the smaller unicycles, like 14 inches, Galway MCM5, M10-3 a lot, InMotion V5, Kingsong 14M or whatever. Especially the smaller unicycles that have a smaller battery and a smaller motor might cut you off if you just brake too hard. What you will find is you will keep braking and then suddenly the pedals will dip, and most likely you will fall off the unicycle. So also you need to get to know your unicycle well in order to know the limits of your braking. And connected to this point is number 10, which is braking with a full state of charge. So if your route includes going downhill first, don't charge your electric unicycle to 100% of battery, because what will happen is it will just not allow you to brake. And it's And I gotta say, that's pretty scary, because there will be just not enough headroom in the battery pack to let you brake hard. Just charge the UNICYCLE to around 95% and you will see the charge going up when you will be going downhill. But if it already happens and you have 100% of battery, just brake slowly, don't brake too hard, and the UNICYCLE will brake as well. And number 11, which is a super important thing, and please keep it in mind, just always ride in protective gear, especially if you're going faster. Always wear a helmet, get yourself some knee pads, get yourself a motorcycle jacket with elbow pads and shoulder pads, and also back protection. It really helps and it's really important. So I hope you found this video useful. If you found it useful and you're still here, leave a like on it, comment about your past experiences and your preventative methods. I'll see you in the next video. And thanks again to my majestic patrons on Patreon. See you soon.
No beeping yet. Nothing. Gotta say, the wind is pretty strong here. And I have the tilt back at 75 kilometers an hour. This week. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Jesus Christ! Oh boy, okay. So this just happened. 72 kilometers an hour.